Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at DAX propaganda. Comment, like, subscribe below. Check everything out in the description. Let's get into this.
Hey, Daryl. You good, bro? You ain't picking up calls, dog. What's wrong, man? Daryl, you good? Hey. Hey, Daryl. Don't lose yourself.
Like snort.
And all I see is propaganda, propaganda. And all I see is propaganda, propaganda.
Gives
And
me
all I
chills.
see is propaganda, propaganda. And all I see is propaganda, propaganda.
There's Tom.
Yeah, united we stand, divided we fall. New Year's Eve, they've been dropping the ball. Independent, how we dead in the game. We don't write to the sound of applause. Hidden truth, dotted lines, ain't never signed, stood and remain the boss. In a world that is full of facades, where if you speak, you get nailed to a cross. I won't be silent, I am outspoken. I am the product of pain, so when you see my name, no fame could never break down a brain that is already broken. Every wound is a paid devotion. They fill words as I purge emotion. Scabs tear as I drop hits that bleed light from demonic omens. The system decides we spend and we buy, while most of our time is spent in bed. The dreams we have all stay inside. We sleep and wake and live with regret. The price of life is half the cost. The price of fame could cost your head. If infamy is what you seek and propaganda is what you spread. Propaganda.
Wow, interesting. This obviously is he feels that we're being propagandized through the through the television and all the other media sources that we keep in our face and our ear.
Yeah, we're being numbed,
24/7.
right? You know, you have to have the phone on you. You're being numbed, and always keeping that phone on you. Everything you do, you need to record it or you need to take a picture of it instead of just being there present. And therefore, they've got a 24/7 pipe into your consciousness.
Yeah, propaganda is powerful, and and not only is it used by governments, but it's used also by corporations. They propagandize us. And what is propaganda? I mean, what does propaganda mean? It's
Right.
basically propaganda is untruth, and otherwise it would just be information. And a propaganda is taking actually some truth and maybe a lot of lie and using it to manipulate the thought process and the understanding of those who are viewing it or taking it in, however they're taking it in, is to come to a conclusion that supports whoever's providing that information. And I mean, we get it every election. We get propagandized as vote for me, I'm the best guy in the world. That other guy is a jerk and he's a criminal. Then the other
Right.
guy says, hey, vote for me because that other guy's a criminal and a jerk. And then they come up with various lies to support whatever side it is they're on. And we're propagandized. I mean, we're really on overload. I don't think that there's ever before in society been the opportunity or the capacity to be propagandized like we are now.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
And because
100%.
we're flooded with information. We don't even have time to have a thought because we're busy watching somebody else's thought
Mm-hmm.
or and listening to the push. And what we really need to do is back off a little bit
Right.
and think about, hey, is this true? Just because I read it, right?
Right.
Is it true? Or I saw it on TV, is it true? I mean, Richard Nixon stood up and said, "I am not a crook," right? And was that true? Hunter Biden, right? He's a good guy, Yeah, it's I mean, who do we trust?
Look at that. Look, that's who you can trust.
Yeah,
News
who's
you
you
can
can trust?
trust.
Yeah, it's frightening, because it's false advertising. is you know, they're used to, I mean, yellow journalism, there was a term I learned a long time ago, was used to by actually William Randolph Hearst really was one of the, they said, the fathers of it, but he really used it well, tainting a story to take enough facts in there, but to taint it, even though it's really not factual, but taking facts enough to stack them up to make it seem true.
Yeah.
And to me, if you deceive somebody, that's a lie.
Right.
If you're deceiving somebody to believe something that is not true, you're a liar. You're lying to them.
Right.
And, but that's been accepted. That's accepted by our society. They say, oh, anytime a politician's lips are moving, he's lying.
Mm-hmm.
And you're voting for who? I mean, you're voting for what, a politician somewhere? I mean, so we've got to get away from that. We've got to call out for higher standards on those people who are running for office, and the people even we deal with.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want that from your kids or your wife or your parents or your boss or your employee. I mean, you wouldn't want them just you wouldn't. Why would you accept just lies from them? I mean, call them out on it.
Yeah.
They're lying to you, call them out. You know, you're a liar. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's harsh, but it's true.
Yeah.
And we've just got to stop the nonsense, because all this stuff does is divides us.
Yep.
Divides us as a people. And when we're in small groups divided by finance, race, faith, whatever, even location of where we live, is you're easier to control.
Yeah.
And they keep us divided. You know, united we stand, divided we fall, is the old saying. Is we're a lot easier to control because they can feed in that. I mean, this last election was talking about abortion. You know, the Democrats, that's really all they had was abortion, and they pushed that, and kept the women divided. Right, most of them, a large segment of them, to his support. Oh, well, they're going to take away our right to have an abortion. Even how many of those women are having abortions?
Right.
I mean, probably not that many.
No.
And but they're going to take away my right. It's a false argument.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, the argument was actually as it was going to the states, not to the federal government. The more rights the states have and taken away from the federal government, the better off we are.
Yep. And that was the propaganda that they used to prop up the federal side of it.
That's exactly right.
Let's go ahead and continue back into this. I'll back it up a little bit.
All I see is propaganda. Propaganda. And all I see is propaganda. Propaganda. And all I see is propaganda. Propaganda. Look, we're dated, indoctrinated. They convince us all that everything we say is racist, and blood will change it. That's what happens. Y'all need balance. Y'all need blacks and whites and lefts and rights to stop the madness. They planned it. It's Trump or Biden, we all been divided by it in the streets. Elections always been rigged. I ain't surprised when somebody cheats. All I see is pentagrams of the propaganda, but our priority's the vaccine. It ain't hard for wolves to find a flock when the sheep are fast asleep. Too many people lack character. Too many journalists scaring. Too many pencils attempting to rewrite the Constitution. They probably gonna tear it up. I love the country, but I don't trust the people taking care of us. We went to bed with the American dream. We woke up in Nightmerica.
Okay.
Good for him.
That line at the end was fire. That what was that? Hold on. Nightmerica. Okay, we went to bed here. I'll highlight it right here.
That's right. We went to bed.
We went to bed with the American dream. We woke up in Nightmerica.
Yeah. It's actually he's right. Is we're lying. The election's been rigged, and not just this one. I mean, there's a lot of that stuff going on. And it's been going on. I mean, you can watch old, if you found old black and white movies about politics and stuff, you see they were rigging it daily in Chicago and all that stuff. I mean, it's like it's new. Oh, that wouldn't happen anymore because, we're better. And it's just, you're just better liars maybe, but it's not that it's not true. And that's either side is because
more
when both sides
media.
call the other side a liar, who do you believe?
Yeah.
Right? Solomon did a thing, right? There was the story of in the Bible about two women coming up to him with a baby, and they're arguing over whose baby it is, right? And one of them's going, "It's my baby," and the other one's going, "It's my baby." And Solomon goes, "Okay, here, get my sword, and I'll chop the baby in half. You can each have half, right?" And the one woman goes, "Oh, no, let her have the baby." And the other one goes, good, right? And he goes, so he took the baby from the one he said it could have, the gal who said she could have the baby, took it from her and gave it back to the woman who was giving the baby away, because he knew the woman who wouldn't let the baby get cut in half loved it.
Right.
Right. So, and that's when you have two people lying, it's hard to discern the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is, you know, he's talking about the elections and all that, is Republicans and the Democrats play good cop, bad cop with us all the time.
Yeah.
And they lie to us. And you look at the state of our country. It's okay. Who's been doing the great job? Neither.
Yep.
Neither. They've been scamming us along, and you know, as you can see how far apart they are when Trump took office, and the Republicans, when they controlled the House and the Senate, couldn't even pass legislation that Trump was trying to get through, that they same Republicans had campaigned on for decades, and they wouldn't even vote for it.
Yeah.
And it was the stuff the Democrats didn't want voted for. So here the Republicans are aligned with the Democrats. Now you can all of a sudden you can see them. The lights on, right? The scripture verse, the dark hates the light, right? Once you show the truth, it's just like, you know, scamper to the dark corners, and that's what's happening. I mean, Black Lives Matter, right? They had all those riots, and you follow the Black Lives Matter leadership there. They've made themselves phenomenally wealthy. Were they helping out those communities that they were trying to incite into riot and causing all problems? And I mean, I've seen riots. I've seen riots over the Vietnam War. I've seen it all. I've seen race riots, all of it. I've looked through a bunch of that stuff. And unfortunately, sometimes the government doesn't wake up until something happens.
Right.
And no one wants to see a riot. You know, I'm not promoting it at all, but I'll tell you that is when the Watts riots happened in the 60s and 70s, is things did change out of that. There were some changes made out of that. And when people just said, hey, you know what, we've had enough of your BS. You know, that's enough. And we're going to get treated like human beings. But there's always those who capitalize on it, want to take advantage of it, and put themselves in a position so that they can make a bunch of money off of it.
Yeah.
And that's what they do, position. And that's just I guess that's the way of life, it seems. But we've got to be able to at least discern the truth. And if we can't find it, you know, on the phone or in the on the television or on the computer screen, maybe we need to get out on the street and just start talking to our neighbors and our friends and say, hey, look, you know, I've talked to actually people who are so extremely liberal, they're almost Marxist, and talk to them. And there are certain things that I find that we're in agreement on. There's some things we're not in agreement on, but there are some things that we do agree on. And take those things away from it. And I mean, I'm going to push the Marxist stuff off, because I certainly don't believe in that. But there's some. It doesn't mean they're wrong on everything. It doesn't mean everybody's wrong on everything. And it doesn't mean the Black Lives Movement was wrong on everything. It doesn't mean they were right on everything either. Right. And I mean, I have a hard time finding out what the Klan was right with. I don't see anything there. And but I got to say is that we as a people have just got, if we search out the truth, and I found that you can have a great conversation with people if you're honest. Just speak the truth. Sometimes that truth is hard. And but if you just talk the truth with it, as people can understand it when that truth comes to them, most, I'll say. And but they're just not hearing it very often, unfortunately.
Yeah.
They're hearing propaganda.
All right, let's get back into it.
We went to bed with the American dream. We woke up in America.
There you go.
And all I see is propaganda. Propaganda. And all I see is propaganda. Propaganda. And all I see is propaganda. Propaganda. And all I see is propaganda. Propaganda.
Yeah. So how do you escape that, right? How do you get the truth out? Well, these guys are actually doing a pretty good job. They've got another method of getting another avenue to get the truth out, and at least because he's not even promoting a side. He's
Right.
just promoting not listening to the lie and the truth, and it's calling us to be wise.
Yeah.
And just
It's being aware. It's waking up. It's not,
Yeah.
It's not just close your eyes and listen to the news. It's, really, really try to discern what is it you are taking in. What is it you're consuming?
I talked to a number of conservatives and Republicans and such. I talked to a bunch of Democrats too. And I remember I was talking to some Republicans and they were talking about, well, you gotta vote for this guy, Jerry, because if you don't, then the Democrat's gonna get in. And the guy's obviously a lousy candidate and is dishonest, or she. And I didn't support him at all. And I said, well, look, here's the problem: is you vote for a bad candidate to get in, say a Republican, we'll just use the Republican Party. Say you got some untrustworthy Republican, but there's the Republican Party is really pushing, elect this guy because we need that seat taken by a Republican. Then
Right.
you get in there, and then the guy goes the other way, shows his dishonesty or her dishonesty, and then what happens is what they do is they disenfranchise the people who voted for him, saying, man, I voted for that guy or that gal, and look what they're doing. They're not even
Right.
doing what they said they were going to do. When you knew that going in, right? You vote for the lesser of two evils, you still get evil. And I would have my promotion has always been, don't vote for them. I don't care what letter's behind their name. If they suck, don't vote for them.
Right.
And let them vote for somebody else, write somebody in, don't vote for them. I say to still be active in the vote, even though we're not even sure the counting is even, we're pretty sure it's probably incorrect, and that there's a lot of stuff going on with that. But we've still got to try, and still always got to try. Always try the peaceful method, And I mean, it took our founding fathers a while to come to their realization that they just needed to. They didn't start a war. They just said, "Hey, we're seceding from Britain." They
Right.
didn't say, that's what that Declaration of Independence was secession.
Right.
We're just separating from you because you're corrupt. And we've tried every avenue legally to get you to do what it is you're bound legally to do, and you're not doing it. You're a lawbreaker, you're lawless, and we're breaking from you. And until we get to that point, if we get to that point, we'll see. But we're not going to make it continuing on the path we are. That's for certain.
Right. And give a good shout out to Dax on Propaganda and the Hangover Gang for recommending them. And like and subscribe, comment down below.